Y'all, it's been a while. I've been laying low out here in these streets on my way to Grand Rapids, Michigan right now. If you are a trucker, let me just take my hat off to you, salute you, because I know that regardless of the quarantine or whatever people talking about, we out here in these streets. All right. Now, I'm not going to speak on the coronavirus and how I feel people shouldn't be scared. I've already talked about that. If fear is your choice, then that is a choice that, you most definitely have the freedom to make. Y'all know I choose to fear not. That is my logic. That is my mindset. That is my lifestyle. So that's a choice I made, to not be controlled by any type of fear. What I want to discuss, though, is to put America, 3Ks, don't get this shit fucked up, incorporated into perspective for people who, have always, either came down, talk shit about me for how I talked about America, how I talk about what America is capable of, what America has done to its working class people. People who have been following me for a long time know that, I've talked about this. I've given commentary about these types of things for years. And, people just chalk it up as, me just running my fucking mouth, me just saying some shit. Some of you know that as we talk about racism, as we talk about the idea and the practice of racism and white supremacy, that we must also deal with how America treats its working class people, and particularly we're going to be talking about classism and how it affects our everyday lives. This is something I think these two conversations must be had parallel to each other, and to get a full understanding of how America conducts itself. Now, as you know, if you're paying any attention, you see that for this pandemic, they have decided to pay the American people's $1,200. In some cases, some families getting $2,400. Kids, if you got kids, you get $500. It's going to be a $2 trillion stimulus package that they're not just giving to American people, which I just learned recently. They are also giving loans to small businesses. They're also cutting checks out to billions of dollars to the airlines and other corporations who have been affected by the slow business of certain infrastructures, in this country. And the American people, they're trying to put money in your hands so you can go spend money, in which case give it right back to them, to help the economy get its boost. Now, I know a lot of black people at this point, you should be really, really looking at this thing from a subjective standpoint, to where you should be enraged even, because they've been telling you that they can't give you reparations for the entire time. They always have an issue. They're always going to tell you, that it's not quantifiable. We can't do that. We don't have the money. We already have a debt. We wouldn't have to. We got to look at inflation, and as if you print all this money, it's going to lower the value of the dollar. You'll get these arguments. But what you have to do in these situations, even if you don't have an argument about necessarily pro reparations, if you're just a working class person and you see that this government always bails out big banks, always bails out corporations, and this is just a habit of the country. But the people have allowed it to be this way. Because when people like me have talked about it, everybody wants to treat me like I ain't got no goddamn sense, like I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you look at the habits of America, you'll see this is a very clear choice that America always makes, that's why I say America 3Ks, don't get this shit fucked up. And I added the incorporated, because we have to understand that America runs itself like a business. And every business that you know of, most businesses that you know of, the reason that the CEOs at the top get all the money and the workers are forced to live check by check is because they don't give a fuck about the working class people. This is the mentality of America. The mentality of big businesses. The same mentality that caused the housing crisis when Obama was first elected president. The reason that he forked out, I think it was up towards $800 billion or maybe $1 trillion to bail out the banks. Because what America has decided on your behalf is that corporations, the CEO, the motherfucker that's on the yacht with the mansions, is more important. Their financial stability is more important than yours. That's what America has told you time and time again, and y'all continue to ignore it. Everybody that talks about it, y'all treat them like they're conspiracy theorists or kooks. This is the same government that has always treated the working class people like shit, and has always treated black people like even more shit. This is what we're dealing with. Now, working class white people happen to be some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Because a working class white person, if you study capitalism in America, if you watch these documentaries, what you'll notice is that the working class white person, all in the motherfucking caves, have decided that they don't care about what America is really doing as long as they can look at you and call you a nigger. That's how stupid they are. That's how stupid they have been. If you understand, if you watch documentaries, what you'll notice, if you watch documentaries about capitalism, what you'll notice is that a lot of times it's the working class white motherfuckers out here that be getting fucked over. That are getting fucked over. Bamboozled. But as long as they can call you a nigger, they don't really care. Because what their main focus is that black people don't get a leg up. One of the main arguments I've seen that these motherfuckers make from the caves against reparations is they will talk about the fucking deficit. They'll talk about how the government doesn't have the money, but they don't give a fuck when they're getting fucked over by this same government. As long as they can rely on the fact that black people are getting fucked over more based on the color of our skin. That's why I call racism a mental disorder. Because white people will cut off their nose to spite their goddamn face if it means that black people will be in a worse position than them based on the color of our skin. That's who these people are. They are raised to be this way. Their parents and grandparents passed this mentality down. While they sitting in a goddamn trailer park feeling good about themselves because they can look at a black person and feel like a black person is beneath them. While their grandparents and parents lost their houses during the housing crisis, they can still look at black people and say, well, I may be homeless now, but at least I ain't in the ghetto. This is what gives these racist ass motherfuckers in these caves, that's what gives them life. That's who these people are. That's why when you're trying to explain yourself to them, you're wasting your time. They have a mental problem. They have a mental disorder. This government has clearly been against working class people the entire time. This government has shown you that corporations are more important the entire time. This government, and you have people and political pundits that will talk about a national deficit like that's real. If money ain't real, owing money can't be real. This is what the reality is. Money itself isn't real. This is why they can go print out at the goddamn Treasury, at the motherfucking Federal Reserve. They can print out whatever money they need. It's not a question of inflation then when they're bailing out big banks, as you dumb Americans sit around here and talk about motherfucking inflation and how broke the country is and what they cannot do. That is an illusion. Now, political pundits will get on, TVs and talk to people about the national deficit and all these things. The national deficit isn't even real. Owe money to who? Is the Martians coming to collect the debt? No. But when you see that this country does print money, same way as making this $2 trillion come out of the motherfucking thin air. That's the same way they could have been giving black people reparations. We're looking at the same shit. But because big corporations are suffering, because it's really not about the American people. They're having to do this shit because they want the American people to have money to spend to get these big corporations back rolling again. That's all this is. It's basic. This is what this country has been doing. This is how this country has been the entire time. And I've been telling y'all, don't nobody want to factor this stuff in. This stuff matters because you get an idea of how this country or who this country feels like is the most important. It's not you. It's not you. It ain't been you. Period. When this country is talking to you about the deficit and how broke this country is, it's a lie. You're just not important. That's the truth. The working class people, the people who make this country run, without you, this country doesn't have anything. But yet, you don't get the, what I would call consideration. Nobody cares how you feed your children. Nobody cares what you have to go through to pay bills. Nobody cares. This government doesn't care. And when you decide to be angry about that, when y'all get mad about that, this country will have to bend the knee to you. The working class people in this country are the kings and queens of this entire country. We just don't realize that we got that type of power. We're too afraid to flex. That's terrifying, to flex, because you're too worried about what? Paying bills. Too scared to lose your house or run the possibility of losing your house. Losing your car. Not being able to pay for insurance. The fear of not being able to pay bills makes you afraid to flex. And when you look at the fact that these people can pull $2 trillion, nobody's asking, where are they going to get the money from? When the purpose is to so-called stimulate the economy, which is turn people into consumers. Right now, the problem is not that you're hungry, not that your kids are hungry. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're not out spending. That's what the fuck this government cares about. You're not spending any money. They don't care that you're hungry, really. That's not a real thing. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna let them make y'all believe that. No, you're not spending money. That whole $2 trillion isn't going to the American people like it should. That's not coming to you. And black people, they've been arguing against you about reparations for how long? Well, we just don't know how we will make something like that work. We don't have the money for that. But here we are. And this ain't the first time we've been here. This ain't no Trump shit. A lot of you niggas are so fucking short-sighted you don't see this is in America. 3Ks don't get this shit fucked up. Incorporated issue. Because what's the first thing Obama did when he got into office? Who did he bail out? Not you. He didn't bail you out. He bailed out the banks who should have been goddamn criminals who should have been in prison for the shit they doing. They should have been in prison. Tricking out people's 401ks on boats and mansions. And instead of locking these bitch ass motherfuckers up and shutting these bitch ass motherfuckers down, oh no, they get damn near $1 trillion. But you still hungry though. You still making $10 a goddamn hour though. Don't nobody care how you make it. You live in check to check. Nobody cares. This should make people angry. The ideas you have about the deficit, the ideas you have about money should drastically change. But people are so fucking ignorant that they won't pay attention to this because, again, this isn't the first time this has happened. This is the most recent time, so this is the time that I'm talking about. I've been exposed to Obama for coming in here and bailing out the banks and talked about how problematic that was. What this shows you about America is it doesn't matter who's in office. America's priorities start with big. Big banks, big farm, big. That's their priorities. Not you. Not your life, not your circumstance, nothing that you're going through. And black people pay attention because America doesn't even give a fuck about its working class white people. So it damn sure don't give a fuck about you. Now I know you've been tricked into believing that it does. You've been tricked into believing that the Democrats care about you. Democratic presidents ain't come out here and cut you no damn check, ain't gave you no money, haven't given you any goddamn thing. Well, fuck them, Rob. I'll be Republican then. Republicans ain't never gave a fuck about you, ain't cut you no check, ain't did shit for you, and will call you a nigga to your motherfucking face. That's the caveat of the Republican. America's priorities have nothing to do with you. At some point, the reality of that must dawn on us in an effort to make us make better decisions. To conduct ourselves in a better fashion. Understanding that this government doesn't give a fuck about you, and particularly if you're black. This government don't give a fuck about you, so you can run your ass down to the polls all you want to. Your Jesus ain't showing up. So we need to be better about how we conducting ourselves. And stop ignoring the motherfucking truth. Stop ignoring the obvious truth. If this government can pull $2 trillion out of the thin air, which really isn't out of thin air, they're just going to print the shit out. It's just money. That's all it is. They're just going to print money. For the benefit of big corporations. So the old white men and women can still be rich. The CEOs, the board of directors, all up in the caves. They're wanting to continue to be rich. That's why they're saying that people who make, I think, over 100K, maybe 120K, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get the so-called stimulus package. They ain't going to get no checks. Because the common sense thing is, well, shit, y'all motherfuckers probably got money in the bank already. You're not in need. We need these working class people to be out here spending money. So you and your stocks, these stocks that these people, a lot of these people that have this type of money, the type of stocks they invest in, so they can be profitable. Now, of course, you have these people who make $100,000 a year. They're going to be out here crying because their dumb asses sit here, make $100,000 a year, and live at exactly $100,000 a year. Because they're fucking stupid. Never fall for the trick that people who make more money than you are smarter than you. They're not. They make 100K, they live at 100K, so now they're crying. Now they crying. Because they living at 100. When they could be living at 60 or 70. If that. People living above their motherfucking means all the time. Or right at their threshold for what you make shouldn't be what you spending out here on would be expenses. They shouldn't be equal. So you can stunt. It's one of the problems that black people make. Or one of the issues that black people really very seriously have. Always want to stunt. You making $100,000 a year? Ain't nothing wrong with you living at 65, 70K a year. Nothing wrong with that. You're saving 30 a year. You've been in that job for 5 years. You've been saving it for 5 years. You got 150K in the bank for hard times. Or if them white motherfuckers decide to come fire your ass. That's the type of mentality we need to have. But understand, as we look at the idea of deficits and money and let this government tell us that it can't do certain things, they're lying to you. They telling lies, y'all. They telling lies, and these political pundits get on TV and they lie to you too. And the people that tell you the truth, y'all have the biggest issues with. Y'all the most angry at those people. I have people that want to tell me that I just don't understand because I know money is fake. You see, I understand that money is fake. It's a fake concept. Owe money to who? Deficit to who? That's why you can't do shit because of a deficit? No, motherfucker. You can't do shit because you want to make the rich richer. That's what America does. That's why they can't do shit. So you motherfuckers that run around out here making huge arguments about a deficit and, you know, taxes and all this stupid ass shit, that ain't real shit. The reason they get on TV and say that is because they know y'all gonna sit around and say that shit in y'all social circles. And white people are so fucking trash that even the idea of black people getting anything makes them sick. And they're gonna argue against it. But after a certain tax bracket, let me show y'all white folk in the caves. After a certain tax bracket that white people get to, they even loathe poor white people. They can't even stand poor whites. Now poor white people too dumb. Working class white people, they just dumb. But after a certain tax bracket, even the motherfuckers in the caves will hate and have contempt for poor whites. Trailer park trash is what they call them. Poor motherfuckers. They'll have contempt for them. That's the reality. The idea that this country doesn't have the means to take care of and look out for all people is trash. That's a trash ass mentality. This government can do whatever the fuck it wants to do. It prints money. Inflation isn't real. Black people, you could have been got reparations. Some of you know this. Anybody arguing against you that this country doesn't have the money, any of these motherfuckers y'all claim is pro-black, or not really pro-black, but have a black agenda, if they're sitting around here telling you reparations is an unattainable goal, then they're lying. They're about to print $2 trillion right now. Now that's not all going to the people. They're going to bail out their big corporations with that as well. But they lying to y'all. And this is another clear example of them lying to you. And if you study capitalism in America, you will see what the fuck America prioritizes. It's not you. It should be you. You should require that it's you. But it's not. Politicians, as they come out here and campaign to you, they should be telling you that you are everything. And because you're everything, you should go on fucking strike. You shouldn't even work for these motherfuckers. You shouldn't do shit. The whole working class people shouldn't do a goddamn thing until you can be guaranteed. Now, I don't give a fuck what position you have. I know a lot of us has adopted this classist mindset. You don't give a fuck about the janitor or the burger flipper. I don't give a damn who they are. I respect all working class people. You shouldn't have to worry about your lights being turned off. You shouldn't have to worry. You should not be able to take vacations. You shouldn't have to live check to check. While some other motherfucker owns a yacht for doing nothing. That shouldn't be okay. We've taken it and accepted it as our reality, but to me, that idea needs to change. And as soon as we change our mentality about what we've accepted as reality, it will. But as of now, we're too scared. We're too afraid because we live check to check, and that's why they keep us in that mentality. Black people, pay attention. Don't keep letting these fucking, even if it's a random ass, dumb ass, working class, cave dwelling ass white motherfucker, don't let them keep telling you that the country can't afford reparations. Don't let them tell you that. You say, oh well, these bitches sure can't print out $2 trillion when they need it, can't they? They found that. Because now big corporations are suffering. Them motherfuckers dropping 3% in profit, that means a lot to them. 3% profit margin decrease, and these bitches ready to jump out of a goddamn window, ready to kill themselves. You think billionaires want to become millionaires? No. They'll goddamn kill themselves if that shit happen to them. They panicking. Do not continue to allow this country and the motherfuckers in these goddamn caves, whether it be the media, I don't give a damn, black, white, I don't care who it is. Don't let them keep telling you that reparations is an unattainable goal. Because if you study capitalism, you study America, you'll see that it's not. America does whatever the fuck it wants to. It just so happens it prioritizes big corporations, even over working class white people. But these motherfuckers too dumb, so we're not gonna worry about them. My focus is on the mentality of black folk. Do not keep letting these motherfuckers lie to you. Do not come let these financial gurus or whoever these motherfuckers are out here keep talking to you in these terms that aren't real. Deficits, inflation, all this stuff, this shit that they made up to justify why they keep fucking you over. All this virus has done is expose these motherfuckers. And if you still ain't paying attention, then there's a good chance you're gonna be asleep. And we can't do nothing with you. We can't do nothing with you. Because you're determined to be asleep, stay asleep. You know, it is what it is. But what this virus should be showing people, and what this $2 trillion stimulus package should be showing people, is that America does whatever the fuck it wants to do, whenever the fuck it gets ready. And that's as simple as that. Democrat, Republican, spiritual, not spiritual, religious, not... No, don't none of that shit matter, y'all. You're working class, and they are fucking you over. You being hungry, your children being hungry, is not a thing that should be happening to you. At all. Ever. So understand that, people. The years I've been talking about this goddamn government and the fuckery and the tricks, and I've been telling y'all this shit is all a goddamn illusion, I won't lie. What no lies happening here. Hopefully more of you will see, will understand how this shit works, and it'll make you a little bit mad, because it should. That's all the fuck I want to say. We'll see. We'll continue to be here and see how this shit rolls out. How they're trying to impose martial law in certain places. They're calling it quarantine, but once they start giving y'all curfews and telling you can't go outside without getting tickets, I saw that in some states. They're right, and I think it was in Chicago. They want to give people tickets for being outside and all this shit. Like, that should be unacceptable. Should be unacceptable. They're going to take your freedoms bit by bit. And their only concern is that the corporations are continuing to be profitable, to keep that dumbass stock market running. That's fallacy. That fuckery that these motherfuckers have been tricking off of ever since they created it. All this shit is an illusion. But that's how the fuck I wanted to say, y'all. I know this was a longer video, but I hadn't talked to y'all in a while, so I wanted to come in here and show this shit, and hopefully you look at it and you study capitalism. You watch. I know black people don't. A lot of times you don't want to watch certain boring things, but just documentaries about capitalism and money. You'll see the motherfucking games that these motherfuckers play out here. Like, you can see it's very clear. Paying attention to historical events, things that happen like the housing crisis, the recession, and how they bailed out the banks. I mean, you were able to see that. How can you ignore that them bitches just printed money out of thin air? How can you ignore that the Pentagon, them talking about they lost $2 trillion at one point and they didn't even know what happened to it? They don't have to be accountable to anybody. These motherfuckers can do anything because money ain't real. It can be created out of thin air just like it was. It's not real. It's not there. Everybody can go to a bank right now. Every member of a bank can go to that bitch right now and everybody go try to pull their money out and see what happened. See what happened? Money ain't real. Credit, all this shit, it ain't real, y'all. We falling for the shit. And we allow them bitches to hold that shit over our heads. So understand that. That's all the fuck I want to say. Y'all comment if you need to comment. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Stop living in fear, y'all. And stop letting these motherfuckers say anything to you. They can say anything to us. And justify us struggling. And we'll be okay with it. 2 trillion. Thin air. Black first, second, and third. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.